I am holding a few iron shafts in my hands because I just read a question from someone, and I'm not faulting them because people are curious about this and they lose sleep over it, as to whether a 5-gram difference, minor torque difference, would make much of a difference to their performance, their ball flight, at a sort of an average swing speed. And I just kind of look at it, and I've been thinking about this for a while and go, I don't know where people could possibly go to get realistic advice and information about what an iron shaft is going to do for them. I think it's my whole career, I don't even know that I've ever heard someone actually discuss it in a practical manner. Not a, hey, this kick point, this, and this torque, this, and your ball flight will, high launch, low spin, like none of it. No marketing, absolutely nothing but what occurs when the club hits the ball with that shaft installed. So I'm going to talk as I go and know that I am not saying that shafts are meaningless and that it's all crap. I'm not, but I am saying that it has all gone so far. It is so overblown. The marketing of it, the discussion of it, even amongst like consumers and forums, it's all gone so far to the point where I don't even know how people can make a decision anymore and feel confident. There's just so much unrealistic, unpractical opinions that I would love to be a part of, just sort of clearing up and making people feel a little bit more secure in what they end up doing and what they end up using. So I'm going to put the shaft that I currently use, which is a Project X 6.5. And for clarity, I think in the last 8 years, for logistical or video or who cares what reasons, I've probably played 4 or 5 different iron shafts. I can categorically promise you, I have never once in my time blamed the iron shaft for something that happened with the ball flight. The only time I thought I should really change iron shafts is when I was playing extremely heavy clubs and I felt like literally tired swinging them and the long irons felt too heavy. So that's the only time. Every other time I look at it and go, yeah, there's probably 4, 5, 6, 7 different shafts. I'm looking at a wall of Mizuno, demo there that I could probably play and play pretty good golf. And that's, at my level, my opinion, but I want to show you kind of why I think that. So my shaft in the head here, let's hit a couple and I'll see my usual numbers. So I've hit a ball. I was just standing there doing a live for an hour, so I'm a little slower on my first swing. That's fine, but yeah, if I hadn't really warmed up and I hit a ball slightly out of the toe, that's exactly what it would look like. That's more like a shot that I would hope to hit once I've loosened up and hit some balls. So for me, that launch angle, that spin rate with this head that I'm using, which is a JPX 925 Forge, just for this example, and a higher spin ball and a Pro V1X, that's what the ball does. And I have a pretty good control over my face angle. I don't have unexpected misses. I know what my miss patterns look like. I know it's me. I don't look at the configuration of the club and go, something's going on with that feel at the top. It's comfortable, fine. So let me now put in a Modus 120X. This is also a shaft I've played. There are differences between these shafts. I'll say it a couple times. I am not the clickbait guy telling you it's all crap and you're going to hit them all the same. I'm not saying that. There are differences between the shafts in weight, in the bend profile, in stiffnesses at various parts of the shaft. There's differences. I'm not saying there isn't, but we're in a similar category. So if you're fitting someone, they would probably be hitting some shots, if we had narrowed it down with both shafts. And so realistically, what can I expect on what feels like a good swing to me out of the ball flight itself? And then beyond that, what is the shaft actually able to do? Like, what am I actually going to see? Which one will I hit better and why? So I didn't strike it the same. Pretty similar numbers in most ways, but I can't say I struck it exactly the same. Objectively, if we were doing this on a robot, you'd say, okay, you have a little bit more dynamic loft there by almost none. I Didn't hit down at the exact same amount though, so that's on me. I struck it a bit more on the toe, so the ball speed's a little bit lower. Could be my fault, could be that this shaft, for whatever reason, I have a little bit more of a toe strike to. Great, that's a realistic thing. That's something I'd actually pay attention to. But let's just say that aside from slightly mishitting it, it's a pretty similar ball flight, pretty similar launch and spin, height, descending angle, fine. It's pretty good. So the first thing I say to people when they're looking at all this stuff is pay like a borderline serial killer attention to strike point and your club head speed and your face angle, and are you sure that swing was similar? What did it feel like to you? I can tell you categorically, I don't feel like I made the exact same swing there. I feel like it felt pretty similar, but I maybe made a little bit more of a tentative swing. The strike came in a little bit kind of higher on the face. It's okay for there to be some things going on when I'm moving between shafts, but I'm not yet, even based on that experience, I'm not yet going to go, this is no good. In a fitting, I would ask the person, you feel like you made a bad swing there? They'd probably go, yeah, maybe. I feel like I made a bad swing there. Tentative, left the face open. Okay, so now we're starting to see a little bit more of a pattern. When the face was square, when the first couple swings happened and I felt like I made good swings, we saw very little. We saw almost nothing going on there. You saw the subtlest differences in, let's say, strike point. We saw the subtlest differences, the dynamic loft. And let's just assume that I even made the same exact golf swing, which of course I did not. And I would be objectively a little bit more consistent than most. So that was not the time to throw it out, and it was also not the time to go, oh wow, this is a much higher launch shaft than a Project X, and it's much, really gives me a certain whatever, gives me a certain ball flight. Definitely not. What I think is realistic right now at this stage is to say that based on how the shaft moves in dynamic motion, that it doesn't seem to suit me as well in terms of delivering the face back to square. I can't even say for sure that it would be a shaft that gives me a toe strike, because that one I hit in the heel. You have to be really, really careful with these things because, again, you have to go to someone, you have to try to get the most objective information and make sure what is me, what is the shaft. So now I'm going to put something in here that I'm not going to tell you quite what it is yet, but let's just say on paper, does not fit me at all. Okay, so I towed it a bit. It's fine. If you're there for a fit, not a lesson, I mean, in some cases you can do both, which is great here. But if you want to objectively see what it does, you really just want to do your best to look at the target, make your normal rhythm and swing, and just objectively look at the result. And just go, don't worry about what happens. I just want to see what happens after I hit the shot. Interesting. So a little quicker club head speed, and some of that might be just getting warmed into it. But in a lot of ways, a launch and spin, not that different than we saw from other shafts when, let's just say, we hit a good shot. So this is the part where it gets a little bit trickier because it's like, okay, when the ball has been struck in a part of the face that's, let's say, pretty good for that player, when the face angle is in an acceptable range for that player, for me, I play a bit of a draw, what is the golf ball actually doing? So in this case, this launch angle and that spin rate and that distance and that ball speed are disturbingly similar to the Project X 6.5 that I started the video with and that I play with. This is a 105 gram stiff Mitsubishi MMT. So it's far lighter, far more flexible. The graphite part, it doesn't really matter as much, but let's just say it is drastically different in every way. The shaft moves more on many different planes, but when it comes to actually striking the ball, when it's all kind of matched up, not that much of a difference. Yes, if I recall, I think that if we want to pick shots perfectly out, maybe 0.5 of a degree of dynamic loft. Are we sure that the ball was on the exact same line? If the face is open or closed, even the slightest bit, it affects dynamic loft. We're within the human error range on all of these stats, so keep that in mind. Now, that is not me saying play any shaft, who cares? That's not what I'm saying. I'm going to go back to this Modus 120. And again, remember, if you're in a fitting, you're a person. I deal with people all day. People's confidence goes up and down. It varies the way they communicate. You got to deal with everything on a realistic basis. Don't bog yourself down with the idea that a few grams here and there, let's just say between my actual shaft and this one, and a few kick point differences or CPM differences prevent you from hitting this. And the minute you hit one bad shot, your brain goes, ugh, I'm done. So you have to be as open-minded as possible. Again, I'll say it again. I'm just going to make what feels the most like my normal confident swing. I only care about looking at what happens. I don't care about hitting a good shot. So I think I did that pretty well. And I think it's become clear to me that even though I could square this up a couple times, that when I try my best not to think, I seem to, for whatever reason, leave the face a little bit open. And maybe, although I'm not convinced, hit it a little bit further towards the toe. That's it. That's as far as I would go. Okay, so whether or not I did that, let's say it took effort, or that does matter. But let's just say, on that particular swing, with this shaft that was showing a bit of a left pattern, I did manage to hit one where I squared it up. Again, look at the numbers. It's kind of close on launch, within half a degree. The spin rate, I am getting a little more loosened up, so the ball speed's higher, whatever. It was a good strike in that particular situation. It wasn't a toe strike that time. And I don't give people irrational things, period. I showed you the 105 just for example's sake, to show you realistically there's really only so much the shaft itself is going to do to change the ball flight. It doesn't mean I give people weird stuff, regular and double X and stuff, and mess with them and go, oh, that must be good. That's truly placeboing someone. What we actually do is pull a number of options that's realistic for them to try after assessing their golf swing, like for real, with cameras and data, and go, within these shafts, we've got this head, we know it's working well for you. What is the one that gives you the best chance? So one more time, I'll go back to the Project X 6.5. Again, that's, in this case, the one that I already play. I already know it works. That's why I wanted to use it as a baseline. Hit that one pretty well. Strike is nice. Yes, I left the face open enough to be 25 feet left of target. But again, based on face angle, that's pretty much exactly what should happen. You get a tiny bit more launch and spin out of a slightly open face. Otherwise, the numbers, not that different. And finish with one there that, again, it looks the most like what I expect. Tiny bit thin, but horizontally impact-wise, in my case, is more important for controlling it. It struck well. Let your fitting be a little bit, well, a lot more interested in getting the iron head correct, the golf ball correct. So in my case even, I would have a conversation about, do you really need 7,000 spin for your golf course, sir? I'd probably be like, I don't know, probably not. I might go a little weaker on the loft. I might go with a lower spin ball. Those things will change the ball flight like crazy. I would have a higher launch angle right away, a lower spin rate. And I could go through 50 more shafts and I would never ever change those things properly. I could make myself hit worse and better shots, but I couldn't really just, with a similar delivery, let's just say, make the ball flight change just by the way it flexes. I like to simplify it more to what gives you the best control of the face and your strike point. What do you feel most confident with? Just be careful, because usually what people feel more confident with is what they start hitting well. And that's okay. That's totally fine. You don't have to overanalyze and go, I'm hitting this well, but what about 4 grams lighter and 2 degrees of torque? What about anything? You will lose your mind, and you will be thinking about that on the golf course, and it's not a priority. So make rational decisions. Start with a selection of shafts that make sense for you on paper based on the swing and data analysis of your actual golf swing existing. The head and the ball are way more responsible by a factor of 1,000,000 for the actual flight of the ball. The shaft is the thing I want to help you or whoever I'm working with do it the most frequently with the most confidence. It's good too. If you're watching this and you kind of appreciate the no nonsense, no marketing, honesty only approach that I do and the staff here do at the shop, obviously love for you to come see us. If you can't, there's ways to support us. You can take a look in the description. I am dedicated and will not change the way that I speak about stuff, and it must be honest. It must produce real results. It is not about what someone or some company says something should do. It only matters what we can actually see and measure and what makes you play better golf.